Hey guys, this is Charles Yeager for PremiumBeat.com. Today I want to show you how you can improve an ending cut on your music. From this to this. Besides sounding better, by removing the hard cut sound, this method allows you to naturally end a song on any strong beat or hit, because those are going to be accented by the reverb that we add. In this tutorial today, we're going to be using Premiere Pro and Adobe Audition. Both are available with the Creative Cloud. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with our music here in Premiere. I'm going to go ahead and delete the ending version that I already had. And I'm just going to start with the original music track that I've got. So this is just a music track that I've went ahead and cut off here, kind of at this beat. I'll go ahead and play it again. And you can see that's just where I cut it off right there at that end beat. If I pull this out, we can just go ahead and listen to some of the other music as it continues on. And so really what this is good for is when you're working with a time constraint or something like that, or just a limited amount of time, you need to cut a song off, possibly for an intro or something like that. This is just going to be a good way we can add a natural reverb ending onto that audio track at any beat. So I'm going to go ahead and add that cut I created back into this. I'm just going to use the C key on the keyboard and just use the slice tool there to cut that. And I'm just going to delete this second part here. So we can hear that kind of hard clap ending right there at the end where I'm cutting the song off. So what we're going to need to do first is we actually need to go ahead and lower the volume after that hit sound right before we bring this into Audition. Because if we bring it in right now, you can see the audio waveforms there. It's not all the way at 0, and that's going to mess up our reverb. So I'm just going to get my mouse over the volume level here on the waveform right at the middle of that beat. I'm going to hold Control on the keyboard and just click on that line. That's going to create a keyframe, and then I'm going to do the same thing at the very end. And on this second keyframe we created, I'm just going to click it and pull it all the way down to negative infinity, so it essentially fades out. Essentially like you're turning the volume knob down, so what this is going to sound like. So we can go ahead and preview this real quick. So we can hear that, it fades away. It doesn't really sound particularly good, sounds better than it did, but again, it just sounds like somebody turned the volume down with a knob, and we want this to sound a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and select my audio now. And before we actually send this to Audition, if you want, what I actually recommend doing is I'm just going to go ahead and hit Control C to copy that and Control V to paste it, just so I have a second copy, just in case something goes wrong. Because when we send this to Audition, it's actually going to render this out and create a new version. And just in case you ever wanted to go back and kind of alter this in the original timeline, you've got this copy. But I'm going to go ahead and move that down here for the time being. So I'm going to come back to my clip here. I'm going to select it. I'm going to right click. And we're going to come here and select Edit Clip in Adobe Audition. So I'm going to click that. And this is going to render that out and go ahead and launch Audition. All right, now that Audition's opened up, we can see the waveforms of the audio clip that we had in Premiere. And we can see right here at the end, we can see how that naturally kind of rolls off there. And that's the kind of natural fade out that we added to our clip. So we can go ahead and preview that again. So now we can hear it kind of just roll off like, again, someone's turning down the volume. So what we need to do is put our current time indicator right here at the very end of our audio. Come over here to Edit. Come down to Insert and Silence. And I usually like to add about 4 seconds of silence or so whenever I'm doing this effect. And you can add any amount of time you would like. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And you can see this inserted 4 seconds of silence on the end of our clip. And this is where our reverb is essentially going to fade out over time. So what we need to do now is I'm going to zoom in on this clip. Again, I'm pushing plus key at the top of the keyboard here. And I'm just going to kind of highlight again over that last beat. And so I've got the current time indicator right now kind of in the middle of that last final beat. And I'm going to hit I on the keyboard. And then I'll set my endpoint to be essentially right in the middle of that beat. We just want to do the second half of the final beat, and that'll kind of reverb out. And I just want to have my out indicator all the way down here at the end of the timeline. So all of this should be kind of highlighted in white. So what we come over to now is come over to Effect, come down to Reverb, and just select the Reverb effect. And the settings you apply are kind of really up to you with your particular clip, but the one kind of key thing to set is the decay time here. Natively, it's going to be on 700, and we want to go ahead and set this around 4,000 or 3,800. So I'm going to type in 3,800. Now these other 4 settings that I adjust, the pre-delay time, the diffusion, and the perception, these are all going to really be up to you. You can kind of tweak these and play around with them. I'm just going to input the values that I did for the other clip that I showed at the beginning. And what I did for the pre-delay was I set this to 50. For the diffusion, I set this at 1200. And for the perception, I set this at 60. And now we can go ahead and click Apply. And you can see how that added kind of a much more natural roll-off of the audio there with the reverb. And it's going to sound like it's more like a concert hall type feel. So let's go ahead and preview this now. So we get that much more natural fall off there with the reverb. Sounds like this was recorded kind of in a concert hall atmosphere, and it sounds more intentional, and that's kind of the key thing here. We don't want it to sound like we just cut the song off at any point in time. This actually sounds like the music was meant to end at that point. And so we'll go ahead and sample that one more time. And as you can see, that would sound very nice for like an intro of something, and that's when that effect is very common. I've used it a lot in the past. So now all we need to do to send this back into Premiere Pro is just come over here to File and just select Save. And now if we go back over to Premiere Pro, you're going to see that file kind of blink, probably update. And now if we just pull out here on the end of the clip, you're going to see the reverb section that we added. That's the silence with the reverb. So now we can go ahead and preview this again. Which sounds a lot better. And over here we still have that secondary copy that we made of the original audio, just in case we need to go back and make any tweaks or anything and send it back over into Audition. Make sure you check out the other tutorials that are available on the PremiumBeat blog, and if you enjoyed the music in today's tutorial, that song is called The Man Without Fear. It's also available on PremiumBeat. Alright guys, this has been Charles Yeager for PremiumBeat.com. Thanks for watching.